the bad thing. There's that part of the conversation when you start apologizing. Thanks so much for listening for so long. Sorry, I know this is a lot. I shouldn't be telling you all this. It's so depressing. You needed someone to listen, sit close as the story unspools. I didn't want my life to be this way. I don't know how I'm going to move forward. I'm so scared. What's been happening to you is awful. It's unbearable. You wanted to share it with someone else, but there's a moment when it starts to feel like it may be too much. Does anyone else really want to hear this? Maybe this is too much. Maybe I'm too much. The pain of the experience is now transforming into something else: embarrassment, sadness, a new wave of loneliness. Last night, I was sitting on the couch with one of my best friends who is terribly sick. After a sudden cancer diagnosis, she is struggling through treatment that leaves her too thin, sallow, and struggling to get out of bed. She's lost all her thick mermaid hair, and her small head is covered in a patchy fuzz. She is powering through with all her tiny might, but this disease does not care how hard she tries. She tries to change the subject, not for her, but for me. Cancer is a living death, and she wants to spare me. I can see it in her giant eyes. You have Disney eyes, I always tell her. She is starting to believe that it's too much. She is too much. She is the bad thing. There's tremendous pressure in our positive thinking society to avoid sad stories. Think positively. Speak positively. Reframe and look on the bright side. But unfortunately for Christians, we are handed a deeply sad story. Our God came to earth and took on full humanity just long enough to be murdered. Jesus rose from the grave and death was conquered. But most of Jesus' closest friends and disciples followed him to early graves. The New Testament is brimming with courage and holiness because the early church understood that faith was not a pleasant guarantee. Our faith is the promise that we will learn something about a great mystery, how we can be loved and saved and changed by a God who shows us what it means to be human. It is beautiful and terrible, but it is not positive, at least not the way our culture imagines. After seeing my friend, I cried all the way home in the car because of her pain, because it is costing her everything, because we live in a world where people are sick or betrayed or lonely or scared. I cried because this is life. But a truth bubbled up in the midst of it. I felt more than sad. I felt love, fear, and awe. Seeing pain up close can give you an incredible experience of awe. It's like seeing a garment turned inside out, and all the rough seams are showing. You see someone's absolute humanity shine through all the pain, and that vulnerability makes them more, not less, beloved. We feel it when we see a baby being born or when holding someone's hand as he passes from this life. The great mystery of the world is peeking through. and we get just a glimpse. The German philosopher and theologian Rudolf Otto called it numinous. We understand holiness and mystery and fear and humility all in the same moment, and it is beautiful. I wish I had known that when I was in pain, when I truly believed that I was the bad thing. But people's pain is not only a burden, it is an opportunity to scoot up close to the deepest parts of who we are and what comprises our humanity. Our positive thinking world might miss it, but our faith allows us to see that pain is not simply a sad story. There's nothing inherently embarrassing or shameful about it. We are not the bad thing. We are simply living our beautiful, terrible days.